Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're listening live to 102.5 FM. That's Ramadan Radio in collaboration with EAVA FM. So, Alhamdulillah, we're here yet again. I have a guest. Well, he's not a guest, he's part of the crew, the Radio Ramadan crew. And I don't think he needs any introduction as well. The plan was to have somebody else here, but unfortunately they couldn't make it. So, we've got none apart from our very own Yusuf Chambers. Brother Yusuf Chambers, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you doing there, brother?
Alhamdulillah.
Cool.
Brother Yusuf, I'm just going to tell the listeners out there how I came across you the first time. You've heard the story. I told you when we were going to France, when we went together. But I'll just tell the listeners out there. The first time I came across Yusuf Chambers was, I was flying back from South Africa. We were on Saudi Airlines, and you know how they have the TV screen. I thought, what programs they have, and one of them was presented by Brother Yusuf Chambers, and another brother from Cardiff, and you were talking about the importance of da'wah and how we've neglected it, and it was a really inspiring little documentary, and I thought, Subhanallah, I want to meet this person, and I'm sure it's that same year or the year after we met here 5-6 years ago now in Ramadan Radio. So that's how, and then obviously we went to France, and we've been part of the city retreat as well. So that was my exposure to yourself.
That's right. Yeah, mashallah, mashallah. Memories, eh? They make a man and a woman.
So what this show really was to do with reverts and converts and how their experience in terms of them entering Islam and what the struggles are. So, Brother Yusuf, we want the listeners to know what was your journey, how you came into the fold of Islam. If you can just enlighten us.
Well, I mean, all of these questions, they can either be answered in a very long way or a very short sort of. So we really don't have that.
Yeah, like a summarized version, if you want.
So I mean, basically, I was born into a lapsed Catholic family. Yeah. Lapsed Catholic. Yeah.
So they weren't very practical.
Yeah, so I mean, they're not really. And my father is Irish and he was Catholic. My mother then had to become Catholic, but she did so. I think she did so because she begrudgingly just to get married.
Oh, right.
So she changed her faith basically to get married. And anyway, after some years married, then I popped up. As happens, and I was born into this situation, which is not really. There's not much guidance.
No. Did you go to church?
There's
on a Sunday?
None of that. None of that, brother. None of that.
Okay. Because usually Catholics are more religious than you'd say Protestants.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it depends on the family, though. I mean, So so that's where I was born. I was born into that situation, and when I was about 15, I left home. Yeah, and then after that, I just stumbled in from workplace to workplace to workplace to workplace like this. Didn't enjoy it.
Did you actually believe in Christianity at that point?
No, not at all. No. In fact, I was just experimenting as a young kid. Out there, and it got to the point where I decided that. I started asking myself deep questions about what the purpose of life is, because ultimately you can't just go through life just stumbling and falling and learning as you go. You have to know there must be some intrinsic knowledge which somebody can give me, which is going to help me stop making all the mistakes I'm making.
So you had these deep questions that were unanswered within yourselves, I take it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think everyone does. I think this is, because the da'wah is focused on, reawakening that seed of knowledge inside every individual, which says there is something more than this.
Yeah.
It's got to be more than this. That's a statement. That's the way I was. So I used to sit with a lot of friends, and they'd go through the usual stuff, drinking and womanizing and all that stuff. And I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all with that whole lifestyle. So I remember there was a time when I started just reading, because I'd never read a book until I needed to. Okay. When I needed to, I started reading. And I started reading loads and loads of literature, from philosophy, religious books, etc., in order to find out the purpose of life.
So you were just on a mission?
Yeah, I was on a mission.
Okay.
And that involved no one else apart from me and authors, me and books, you know. Then at school, as I said, I'd never read a book. Yeah, because
you're like me then. I wasn't very keen on reading. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no, I wasn't keen on anything at school apart from just enjoying myself, you know. Anyway, so I got to the reading stage, and I decided that, you know, having read a lot, that I had to travel a bit. So I started traveling. I had to travel and then see the part of the world other parts of the world that we haven't seen.
Okay, where did you go?
Well, one place that I went to, which really had an impact, because I went all around Europe. I took a Interrail ticket. All right. It's about £100 then. It's probably a lot more now.
Yeah.
And bought the ticket. I went off, and I got to Pompeii in Spain. In Italy. In southern Italy, near Naples, and Bari and places like that. So I got to this place called Pompeii, and that place had Mount Vesuvius had erupted in the 10th century, and it had covered the whole of Pompeii in molten ash, and it happened very, very suddenly. And because it covered the whole place, no one knew it was there. And then around, I think, 1950s, they excavated this place and they found everything as it had died.
In Pompeii there?
Yeah.
Wow.
So everything was immaculately preserved by this molten ash. Okay? So what they did, they discovered, the guys there, they poured plaster of Paris into these molds everywhere. They could actually see the condition of how people died, and you know it was like a time lapse, you know, or a time something that was left an imprint in history.
So was this underwater or these?
No. It was just covered in molten ash.
Okay.
The whole civilization was captured at that moment in time.
Wow.
As the Mount Vesuvius erupted and covered the whole society.
Wow.
Anyway, so as we were going down the streets, you could see the actual like signs on the shops. You can see how people had died. You could see them in agonizing, dogs, humans agonizing and protecting their face from this ash that was coming on them, and so on and so forth. And then one of the things that struck me was, as we were walking around, and I had a tour guide, was the fact that every street was about promiscuity. It was about promiscuous behavior, about overt sexual...
fahsha,
munkar. To a new level. Yeah. That we didn't even think was possible at that time, because I was very young and we didn't know, you know, and I can't even describe it on the radio.
Yeah.
Because I'll leave it for you to imagine what was going on there. But enough was said to me. What it left was an imprint in my mind, the fact that this place was destroyed. It was destroyed.
So that just kind of put this thing in your heart that this is something great that's happened here.
And it was an awe-inspiring moment to go there to that place in Pompeii, see that place that was destroyed 1,000 or 1,100 years before that, 1,000 years or whatever, and left this imprint in history, this particular moment in time, indelibly stamped on mankind. Anyone can go there and see it. You can go there and see it.
Wow.
And you can draw your own conclusions from it, obviously. Everyone's going to draw their own conclusions from it.
This reminds me of something that would have happened to the Qawm Lut, how Allah destroyed them, and apparently there's still remnants of them, like you
Yeah, but then you see, at the end of the day, there are civilizations throughout mankind that has happened to, and they've left that imprint, as it were, for others to see. So, and then, of course, I didn't have the Quran at that time, right?
So basically, at this moment, you're still thinking,
Yeah.
there is some kind of divine source out there, but you still don't know anything more than that.
Yeah.
I take it,
Yeah, absolutely. So it then renewed my energy to try and find whatever it was that had created me. So I'd reading more and more, and I'd meet a lot of people and discuss it with them. I'd meet Christians and Jews, and I'd meet atheists. I'd meet, Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs, etc. I'd meet everyone, and I'd ask them the question, what's the purpose of life? And so, I went through loads and loads of these people, literally loads.
And I take it their answers weren't fulfilling the answer you're looking for.
Right, so, all of them had some good in them.
Yeah.
Yeah? And all of the people you could see had some good in them. Because essentially all human beings do have that seed of knowledge.
Yeah,
right?
Some way down the line, a prophet must have come to them, and obviously the message has got distorted throughout time.
Distorted or confused, or some things were added to it or subtracted from it, So, but then some of the stuff, so that everyone's got good in them. That's why they say all religions are good. We always say that. And obviously we've got a very diverse community. We have to respect their values and their rights.
Yeah, definitely.
As well. So that's why we don't. We say everybody's got a fair crack of the whip.
Yeah.
But then for me personally, when I was looking at those different religions, they didn't make sense to me at that moment in time. Yeah. So I was and I'd gone through all the religions, but I hadn't seen Islam because Muslims weren't around, or they weren't being vocal, or they weren't even telling me they were Muslims.
This is
see?
This was in London.
London or Guildford. I used to live in Surrey actually,
okay.
and then traveling around the world as well.
Yeah.
So it was difficult to find Islam.
Are we talking about the 70s here, or
No. This is the late 80s now.
late 80s? No. Okay.
Early 90s. Yeah.
Okay.
So this time, I decided, look, the top 5% of the world, they go to university.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't have even one GCSE to my name.
Wow.
So because I left without doing any exams.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really believe it was going to be any benefit. And neither did the teachers as well, because they could see that I wasn't really interested. So, I went to night school. I got some letters from the tutors saying I knew maths and English proficiently. I got to an access course. Yeah. It took me 3 years, and I got to university. Wow. So, and I got there, and I went there for a reason. Yeah. The reason I went there was to find the purpose of life.
So that's the sole reason you enrolled at the university?
Yeah, I didn't go there. I was doing politics and third world development at the time. But the real reason I went there was to find out who I was and where I was going to go when I left this planet.
Okay. Which university was this?
University of Sussex, East Sussex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then from university?
And from there, in the university, I continued asking a lot of questions because I thought, look, these are the top 5% of the world. Yeah. Apparently, top 5% of the world, intellectually, they go to university. Yeah. So I continued asking a lot of questions, and I was very, very sad to say that, that I didn't really know at all. I didn't benefit from the time at university directly because of intellectual discussions and meeting with those intellectual people, because most of them were actually escaping from home for the first time
Yeah,
and experiencing what they would consider to be adulthood.
freedom.
Yeah, freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom! You know, and so I didn't benefit from them. So I started sitting with the PhD students and some of the guys in IDS, Institute of Development Studies there.
So
And tried to find the people that would be able to answer the questions.
Okay, so did someone give you a Quran or?
No, I mean, no one gave me a Quran. In fact, there was a group of people eventually. Now, after a lot of meetings and discussions with different religious people, I'd meet them once. I'd meet the Buddhist, and after 3 months, I was meditating with the Buddhists.
A muraqabah with you were meditating.
I was doing 3 months of, yeah. And then when I came to ask them, what is the purpose of life, they couldn't answer it simply and, succinctly. So I continued doing meditation, but I left them. And the same thing with some Hindu people I met and some Christians that I met and so on and so forth. And then one thing I did have was a great relationship with a group of Malaysian students. Okay. And one of them, we were very close. And as it happened, we got very close. And one day she told me, look, as from tomorrow, you can't really come here.
Okay. So that kind of must have what's happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I said, what's happening? Yeah. What the hell's going on? Basically, she said to me, look, it's got something to do with my religion. I said, religion? Well, look, I've been studying religious scriptures and meeting religious people for many years now, and tell me something about your religion, because
so at this time you're pretty ignorant about Islam. Yeah. Okay.
So I said to her, look, either you're wrong and you're practicing your faith incorrectly by telling me to get out of here, or your religion's wrong.
Okay. How did she take it?
So she didn't like that at all. No. Yeah. But I mean, I probably wouldn't have liked it either. To be fair. With the benefit of hindsight, So in the morning, having had this argument with her, I went to the ISOC. And I asked the guy for some guidance, and he told me to read these books, and there were lots of them.
Yeah,
lots of books, very varied topics as well on Islam. And then over a period of 2 weeks of reading these books, and I realized that Islam actually was answering the questions. So by getting involved in that relationship, then I had found the faith inadvertently, not inadvertently, because it was written for me.
Yeah.
And I embraced Islam in that month. Of course, it was the month of Ramadan. And that's why she wanted to. She wanted to get closer to Allah, like all of us. All of us want to get closer to Allah. When when the chips are down, when we have to do it. We better do it, There's no time better than the month of the Quran, the month of Ramadan, the month of Ihsan, and the month when the shaitan is locked up, and so on and so forth.
So if you've just tuned in, you're listening to live Ramadan Radio on 102.5 FM in collaboration with EAVA, East African Voice Association. So this is Ramadan special on EAVA FM. If you have any questions, and you want to text in, or you can even ring in to ask our brother Yusuf Chambers, the studio number is 0116 212 9324. That's 0116 212 9324. Or you can text in 07450 925 084. That's 07450 925 084. So you're saying, so now you've found out the message, what you're looking for, you've accepted Islam. What were the hurdles after you become a Muslim? Coming from a white background, maybe slightly different for someone who's already Asian looking. easy to adapt in society. How was it afterwards?
Well, I mean, initially you're euphoric. You're overwhelmed by the fact you've got this massive family,
Yeah.
and you're euphoric about your situation. You're happy, and there's a lot of people climbing all over you to give you information and gifts and hugs and stuff like that. And that happened for a while until you become part of the furniture. When you become part of the furniture, then you find that there's not really much support for yourself. There's actually very little support for new Muslims coming into these communities.
Because even I would say now, recently, we've just had a few organizations just starting support for new converts or reverts, whatever you want to call them. Whereas back then, it would have been non-existent. So it would have been pretty difficult.
It would have been individuals that knew the sunnah regarding newly incumbent people coming into the faith. Because the sunnah of looking after a person who's embraced Islam and by your hands is better than the red camels, as Rasulullah said. And that means better than everything in the dunya put together, and more.
And more.
Yeah,
a red camel, you could say, is probably like a Lamborghini. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to imagine. But the Bedouin Arabs at the time consider and even now, if you go to Dubai, and you'll find them racing camels, they're paying millions and millions of dollars for the best ones.
For the best ones, yeah.
So camel is still something which the Arab understands as being very, very powerful. But the red camel at the time was huge, more than, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if one of them, what should I say, Rasulullah said, that if one of those people embraces Islam through your hands, your actions, your speech, whatever it is, then, it's better for you than the whole dunya.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of adapting into the Muslim society, how was that a difficult thing to do?
Yeah, because the thing is that if you are, these days is a bit easier. Those days, meaning that if you become Muslim, then half your deen is to get married, right? Rasulullah said, Nasf deen, half your deen, right?
Yeah.
But then at that time it was very difficult because I was dropping hints to a lot of different brothers, like, have you got any daughters, and they weren't very forthcoming. And I found it very, very difficult to find.
I think that's still a big challenge for a lot of reverts to this day, where unfortunately our society still has not come across or broken those barriers of race, really, to give our daughter away to, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, particularly in Leicester area, I think it's even worse here because the tribal traditions here are quite still adhered to, unfortunately. And they'll, and I find that what I find interesting about Leicester, you go to a masjid and you can give salams to brothers, they give you salam smiles, but you'll very rarely, if ever at all, be invited to a house. It's only the brothers that I'm very close to that I go to their houses at all. You won't get invited to houses. You won't even get invited to a wedding unless there's some special circumstance. I don't know whether it's just me or not, or it's others, but I've been told it's others.
But the general trend has become, unfortunately, where, for example, why is the shop next door selling tea? I don't want to promote the shop. Quite prominent because nobody's inviting them to the house. You want a tea? Let's go to a shop. You want a dessert? Forget coming to my house. Let's go to the shop. So the culture, our mindset has just become there's no need to come to my house.
Yeah.
You know, you at your house, I'm at my house. Like lakum dinukum waliyadin.
Yeah.
It's become like that. So unfortunately, and Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, he would actually get upset if nobody would come to his house. He'd say, you know, well, what's happened to my house? So unfortunately, the way the society has transformed ourselves, it's a shame actually.
So people are very insular in their families here. I found that. So I mean, I didn't become Muslim in Leicester, but it was just another point that the fact that communities need to be a lot more accepting of people when they come in, a lot more supportive and ready to, you know, to invite them. Just those small invites will just leave such a massive positive impression upon those newly incumbent Muslims.
Definitely. As you're talking about that, a local imam, he rang me 2 days ago, where an 18-year-old embraced Islam. He was previously Hindu, came from a Hindu family. His family actually locked him up. He managed to escape through the window. So he basically, the imam goes, look, at least report this in case something happens in the future. So we had to take him to the police station, reported it. So he's currently living with his friend. He's only 18. He was practicing Islam for the last 3 to 4 months. I've just found out. So this is one individual case I know about. And the struggle that he's going through at the moment is just reminding me of the Sahaba, what they would have went through. Obviously, we born Muslims, we have no idea what it is to go through these struggles. So these are kind of support this brother will need as well. You know, he's only 18 at the moment, and obviously he will need the support of the Leicester community. Okay. They are. Do we have any?
You've got lots
Texas,
of lots of people watching, I think.
Okay, a lot of people watching. All right.
Yeah, and you've got 16, 15 viewers over there already, brother. So mashallah.
Pooja Pancholi, subhanallah, thank you for your sharing your story. So
Jazakallah khair, Pooja. And there are a lot of, by the way, there are a lot of people in the city retreat that come and they hide their deen. They hide their deen because they're frightened about what their families will do. And a lot of them are women. Very strangely, a lot of them are women, and they've never visited a center because a lot of the centers are not. They don't really have much facility for women. So a lot of people in this city today, right, and that's a message that we could give, are lost and in difficulty because they don't have centers to go to. And a lot of them are right. There's a lot of people, guaranteed there's a lot of people who want to embrace Islam, but they don't know where to go. You know?
Just recently, for the last couple of years, we've been doing open Visit My Mosque Day. We've been, you were part of this as well. And just this year, Masjid Omar opened up, which was great. And alhamdulillah, this year they had the boyfriend and
the dual shahada.
The dual shahada. They came. Then obviously they needed some aftercare as well. But the fact that just for an open day, somebody embraced Islam, just shows that if we open our doors up to our masajids, and we have some beautiful mosques in Leicester, what difference it can make. So that's another thing that we encourage every mosque to do. To participate in the open day, and many more, not just the open day, they can have many more activities, but like you're mentioning, where people who are interested in the faith or people who need help, it could be a counselling, assistance needs counselling, etc. There's many things that we still need to develop and nurture as a Muslim community.
I agree, and I've just shared that on my page, the post, so maybe we could request people to phone in or text or message on Facebook now. What are your stories? What are the stories that you guys have found as well, which would be useful for other people to know about regarding reverts or new Muslims that are not being looked after in the community?
It's important that we highlight this because once to have the shahada is like the kind of easier bit because they probably were looking for something and they just needed that push. But the aftercare afterwards, which is I don't have statistics in front of me, but Brother Dawood once, who's quite involved in Dawah, he came up with some kind of frightening statistics where a lot of people who do embrace Islam leave Islam as well because that support is not there.
Yeah.
So it's not just about getting the Shahada, mashallah, put it on Facebook or what have you. It's about the aftercare where you look after the needs now. Like this brother that I'm just mentioning, his family's abandoned him. They actually forced him to do sujood to the idol.
Yeah.
They go to him, do sujood. And he goes, enough's enough, and he ran away. He goes, I can't live in a family like this.
No.
So we need to, as a community, get together, finance him. He's only 18, he does that, he just goes to university. But there's many cases, I'm just giving this example of this one case. So financially they'll need help, emotionally, etc., etc. So these are some of the challenges we, as a Muslim community, need to get together and work on.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. And we can see that, in fact, brother, a lot of reverts are suffering greatly in the community. And some of the reverts are very, very misguided, unfortunately, because we don't have proper places that they can come. I mean, that's why we set up the city retreat, basically, brother. The city retreat is a place where it's like a halfway house between the masajid and the community or their houses. Where they can come and they can learn the deen, and then they can feel more comfortable when they go to the masajid, because the masajid themselves, maybe they're very engaged on certain activities like the prayer, the 5 daily prayers, the madrasa for the children, so on and so forth. But they're not really engaged in strengthening the community with foundational knowledge and support for new communities. And that, essentially, if we want, as Muslims, if we want to, be strong in these societies, we have to do that. If we don't do that, then those people will just leave, and we're going to get weaker. And a lot of our kids are losing the deen.
Yeah, that's another problem.
And, I'm saying that as a revert, right? A lot of our children are finding it very difficult to live as Muslims with all the pressure, the Islamophobia, the rise of the far right, the extremism on both sides, So maybe brothers and sisters out there could, inform us of, some points. Maybe there's some guys on Facebook that we should be pushing, really to, put some comments up now, isn't it, brother? What do you think?
We got Kaleem Khan, M. Hassani. Hello to Muslim brothers. Hello.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
Salam. So they are. It's early days of Ramadan.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, there appears to be 21 people watching this right now, brother.
Right, 21.
So that's very good. That's a good figure.
A lot of brothers and sisters tend to go to sleep before iftar.
Yeah.
They have a long day.
Is it really getting that time already, brother? I mean,
they have a routine. Some people.
Wow.
But. So, inshallah, alhamdulillah, it's been good, your story, in terms of how you became... And how did you get involved with the Peace TV? Quick, summarize.
Well, Peace TV happened in around the year 2007. Zakir Naiki invited me to go and interview him on a show called Ramadan, a date with Dr. Zakir. Okay. Yeah. So the idea was to basically all of the different questions. Now you're getting all the things coming up now on the Facebook. All the different questions that he'd been asked over the years as a person in Dawah, he wanted to answer them. And what better time to do it than Ramadan? And what better presenter than Yusuf Chambers? Well, so anyway, whatever it is, really, 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 mashallah, it was a great experience, very tough at the same time. I was there for 3 months, and I did about 109 shows.
Whoa.
But those 109 shows we did had an impact for the next 10 years and maybe 20 years, So those are still on. I mean, you can find it online. You can still find it on Peace TV today. Ramadan, a date with Dr. Zakir, subhanallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from Dr. Zakir. By the way, he's been being accused of different things, and I met him recently. And
on BBC there was something out.
Yeah, but he's as far as I'm concerned, he's completely innocent of his money laundering charges. But Allah knows best.
Yeah. Okay, we got a text coming. Salam. We at the same have to recognise. If I'm reading this right, we at the same have to recognise that there are brothers. Oops, producer, what's happening? You're taking the text away.
Yeah. So.
Can you get back to the first text?
Yeah, so we need to read them out one by one.
Okay.
That's it.
You're back. Salam, we at the same have to recognize that there are brothers and sisters who have become Muslim and want to worship Allah and not have no recognition.
With little or no life, with life. They get on with life.
Okay.
So I think,
Muslim will get on with life. All right, next text, please. Okay, Salam, sister. Jazakallah for awesome inspiration.
Oh, that's a different show. Oh. We're not sisters. I don't think we are at the moment anyway. I mean, I might be a sister, but anyway, that's enough of that.
Okay, so anyway, hope inshallah, brother Zakir, Dr. Zakir's done a lot of good work. You know,
he's been an inspiration for a lot of different brothers and sisters. Yeah. And the thing is whether they take him away, you know, he gets replaced by 1,000 people anyway. Yeah. So it's very difficult to, you know, you can't extinguish the light of Allah, you know, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says.
He's based in Malaysia now, I take it. He's moved to Malaysia.
Yeah, but, you know, even that is very difficult, you know, so make dua for him, make dua for him.
And also we need to make dua for our brother Maulana Abdul Hamid.
Yes.
You know, it was tragic. Just before Ramadan, we all got together. We had a little evening, and I think a week after that, the unfortunate accident that took place.
Absolutely, So I mean, you know, he is. In fact, on that note, when he got on his bike to go home, he was leaving the city retreat. Okay. And what was he doing? He was teaching new Muslims at the city retreat how to make wudu and how to pray. So the last thing that Sheikh Abdul Hamid did before he got on his bike, and then myself and my two sons were witnessed him go off on the bike and come over to these ends over here where unfortunately he had the accident. May Allah make it easy for him, give him a full recovery, speedy recovery. I understand that he is recovering slowly but surely, inshallah. It's going to be a long process. Was to be educating the very people we're talking about today on the show.
MashaAllah. This is what we want. We need active people in the community, people who will do things to inspire others. And remember, dawah is our responsibility. We're living in this country and we've taken everything from them, you know, in terms of we've got housing, we've got benefits, we've got medical care. We have privileges where certain Muslim countries cannot even have them privileges. So in return, what can we give back? The best gift is the gifts of Islam.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and there's many ways of dawah, obviously the hardcore dawah on the streets, etc. But for your character and for many other means that we can spread the way of Islam. So inshallah, we hope to have your mindset to change that. Allah has sent me as a male, even as a brother or a sister, with the mission of spreading the deen of Allah.
Yeah.
So if you have this in your mind, whether you're at work, you're in your leisure activities, whoever you meet, just think of yourself as an ambassador for Allah and His Rasul.
That's right. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
So we hope you go back with this message, and hopefully every Wednesday we'll try to bring a Revert onto the show and inspire us with the stories and the struggles. And if you want to ring in yourself, if you've been a Revert yourself and you want to ring in, you can by all means come into the studio or ring in and inspire us with your stories as well.
The most important thing that the community has to remember, right, is number one, don't expect them to become exactly like you and look like you and sound like you. Don't teach them Urdu. Yeah, don't expect them just to put an imama on and or shawakamis or whatever it is. Yeah, just let them be who they are. There's no even need for them to change their name unless it contradicts Islam. Okay, so this is the first thing. Make them feel welcome. Don't be strangers. You know, try not to be strange in the society. Yeah, and let the people come to us. Come to our masajid and look at what we're doing. We're an amazing community. We've got a beautiful faith. We've got an amazing Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, so just let's all live according to that message, and we're going to be fine.
Jazakallah khairan. Brother Yusuf Chambers, it's been a pleasure. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and all the Muslims.
Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.